right, ladies and gentlemen, it is Friday nights, and Friday nights mean the Mile High Podcast. But tonight is it's a special occasion. Tonight we're doing the quick hits tonight. So we're doing something that we have not done here at the Mile High Podcast. We're doing a double header. So from the first show of tonight, it's going to be Miss Christy from the Potter Girls Podcast. Hey, Christy, how are you?
Hi, Dave. How are you? I'm good.
Good. She's sporting a pretty sweet Dunder Mifflin shirt. Nice. So we're having a double header. So Christy and I are starting off with the Mile High Podcast quick hits. We're going to discuss the last couple episodes of WandaVision. And then we're going to take a piss break, maybe grab a snack or two. And then we're going to come back at 8 o'clock for James's games. We got a full house for James's game tonight. Chef David is returning. We have Santori, Mel, and for the first time on a James's Games or the Mile High Podcast official, Christy is going to join us for a James's Game. So we're officially bringing her into the club. So welcome to the club.
Yay. I feel so welcome.
As you should. So right after the show, like I said, we're going to take a quick break, and then we'll come back at 8 o'clock for a James's Game. So, in traditional Mile High Podcast fashion, Christy, what have you been up to?
I have this cool podcast with my sister-in-law. I get to do bi-weekly. So we had one last week, and we're going to have another one next week. So that's been fun. I think our second episode was pretty substantially better than our first episode. What did you think, Dave?
Well, the fact that I didn't have to host part of episode 2, that alone made it infinitely better. But no, you guys knocked out of the park. You guys were talking books, and you guys had a real thoughtful conversation. It was really good and really in depth, and you had a lot of feedback from your audience. Most of our audience is pretty high, and it consists mostly of my mom and your mom. But you had a bunch of different people commenting on your show and getting great response. Yeah, you guys are doing a great job, and for only 2 episodes in, you guys have really done a great job. So very proud of you guys.
Thanks, Dave.
Yeah. And yeah, what else? What else have you been up to?
I started a new diet this week.
Yeah, diets suck.
Yeah, but I'm 4 pounds down already. So I mean, I can't compare results so far, but it's taking every ounce of willpower to get through every day. But
yeah,
they tell me
I hear you.
I do it. So
yeah, we're doing the same thing here. Like, we're all kind of out of shape, me specifically. But Dante was, my son, Dante, he wasn't feeling so hot. And, my wife, she wasn't feeling so good. So we're like, at the beginning of the year, we decided like, hey, let's go ahead and, start eating healthy. It wasn't a resolution. It was just like, let's change our habits. And we've done a really good job. I've been on my app. I think I hit like 60 straight days on my app where I'm like tracking my shit. I'm down like 15, 16. My kid's down a bunch. My wife's down a bunch. So like it can be done. It's hard. Like right now I'm having like, it's one of those times where like I've been doing so good, and then I lost a bunch, and then I'm like, man, I just lost a bunch, so I'm gonna eat fucking everything. And the fact that I'm a stoner doesn't really help with like I have these munchies, and so I have to surround myself with good munchies like grapes and shit versus like Doritos and quesadillas and stuff.
Yeah, I'd say the 2 weeks before I started the diet were really rough. I definitely was like, oh, I'm going to be starting a diet soon. Let's eat everything I want to eat.
Yeah.
And it's like, that was stupid. Like, you just gain more weight that you have to lose. But, I mean, we're human. I think our family's pretty well disposed to bad dieting.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Sure. Like, I love my parents, obviously. But my diet growing up wasn't, like, I would say the healthiest diet. And that's nothing against them. They did the best they can. I'm not knocking them. I love drinking, Pepsi Cola and eating Taco Bell. I'm cool with that, but it's definitely we don't have the metabolism to be able to support that lifestyle. Let's just say we're born of Neanderthals. So we don't have the right metabolism to burn all that.
That's so funny you mentioned Taco Bell. That's what I remember. Like, I've been in your parents' house, your old house, a million times. And I always think of Taco Bell and Pepsi when I think of your house. Why? We must have had it enough that it was an actual, but yeah, no, my parents tried to, we had some really good healthy meals, but then we'd also have, frankly, poor people food because we didn't grow up super wealthy. So you just learn a lot of bad habits, and it's really hard to break those. But
yeah, and our parents did a great job, and my mom's a great cook. But she, they were just buying the food that was kind of available. And at that time, there wasn't a lot of like real healthy stuff. It was like Kraft mac and cheese, and it was like rice-a-roni. It's full of junk. But they didn't have like quinoa and lentils and all that shit. Then they had they did a really good job with what they had available. So,
absolutely,
yeah, I think we are living in a really good time now where and we're pretty lucky because we live where there's fresh fruit and vegetables available. There's a lot of underserved communities, unfortunately, that are like food deserts that's a real big issue. Man, we're getting real political starting off, man. No, that's definitely something that needs to be addressed in the next few years, is like getting fresh fruit and stuff to these food deserts, because you need to offer a sustainable, healthy lifestyle. At least have that available. So, wow, look at that. My mom's already coming. My mom's the only one commenting so far on the Mile High Podcast comments. She says that your hair looks beautiful. So, nice.
Just took it out of my messy bun, so thank you.
Oh, this is the messy bun style.
Thanks.
I've been, other than ranting and raving about food deserts and such, I've been trying to promote Caldera. I've been writing the next Race Through Space book, and then on top of my dad is my beta editor, so he always takes my hard copy and he does all the proofreading and stuff. So I'm going through his edits. So I'm keeping busy with that. Just working. Doing the same shit every day. It's like there's literally no change from today as it will be tomorrow. It's just the same shit every day, Coming up a year, man. Coming up a year since, we started to go lockdown. Isn't that crazy? Is that crazy to you?
I gotta say, honestly, Mike and I are so introverted, it didn't change too much of our life, other than like I don't get to drop in and see Aunt Betsy and Uncle Paul like I used to. It's been a while since I've seen my parents. Cam and I are gonna fly out to Vegas next weekend. My mom has one vaccine shot. She gets her second dose the day before we get there. And then my dad just got his first dose today. So I get to breathe a bit of a sigh of relief. We've got our K95 masks. We're kind of quarantining extra hard this week to make sure we're as safe as possible. But even I, an introvert who likes to stay at home all the time, is getting a little sick of staying home all the time. So it's hard to believe it.
Yeah, there's a limit. There is a limit. We are equally introverted as you, which is weird because we both have podcasts. Like, how weird is that? Like, two major introverts have podcasts. It's kind of weird. But yeah, there's a limit. Like, I love going to concerts. I love going to metal shows. I go to Dave Matthews Band concerts with Christy's husband, my good friend Michael. And I miss going to shows, man. I just miss going and seeing live music. Even going to see my cousin play or my mom play or my uncle play, like, having a beer and watching my uncle and play and, watching my mom sing, that I miss doing that kind of shit. So,
yeah, I miss being like Barry and Amanda sing, your mom sing all you guys. I mean, that's definitely.
Yeah. But you know what? I see the light at the end of the tunnel. I mean, they're here in Denver. I don't know what it is up in Grand County, but here in Denver, they're talking about going to level blue, which is like they're going to start opening up entertainment venues again. And they're going to start, and they've already said that they're going to allow 25% capacity at Coors Field. So definitely there's light at the end of the tunnel. Colorado's doing a pretty decent job with getting people vaccinated. But we still got a little ways to go. Masks are going to be around for a long fucking time. I hate that. I hate masks so much, but not enough to like, I wear masks all the time. I have to wear a mask 8 hours a day, and then I go shopping, and then like I do everything in a mask, and I look at these customers that come in, and they're like for 10 seconds they come in, they're like they can't wear a mask for 10 fucking seconds, and I'm wearing it for like 9.5 hours a day. It's ridiculous. Man, we're like way off topic. I don't even remember what the hell we're supposed to be talking about. We're talking COVID, right?
Yeah,
Quick hits COVID edition.
Yeah, no, we're supposed to talk about WandaVision.
Oh yeah, WandaVision. But before that, have you been watching anything? Any movies? Any shows?
No,
Any
I'm
books?
sorry. No, I'm sorry.
Man,
I don't know.
You knew this was coming up, so you're like, I should probably watch one show of something just because I know Dave's going to ask me.
I got caught up on WandaVision. I had to do that last night and on my lunch today, so it's not easy, bro.
All right, it's fair.
Or what it's like to little kids, but they do require a little more of your time.
Excuses. Where's your commitment to Truckee Pacific, young lady? Well,
I'm sorry, I'll do better. Do you have any recommendations of what I should watch?
Yes, as a matter of fact, I watch everything. James, when we're doing the Mile High podcast and we're talking about what we watch, James always knows to put me last because I watch a million fucking things. If I hear any kind of buzz on the internet or from podcasts or anything, like I will check it out. And I came across a movie. First of all, I saw Nomadland. Unbelievable fucking movie. It's on Hulu. It's free. Fucking watch that movie. I'll give a little bit longer review on the next episode of Mile High podcast.
Okay.
But because the movie I want to talk about is something that I can guarantee you've never heard of before. It's a movie called A Futile and Stupid Gesture. Ever heard of it?
No, I have not.
I heard about it on a comedy podcast about some guy like underrated comedy movie. And so I was like, I got to check it out. And I found out it is on Netflix. It's called A Futile and Stupid Gesture. It is about, it's a real funny fourth wall breaking type of biopic about the guy who created National Lampoon. It's a guy by the name, I lost it, Doug Kinney, played by Will Forte. So Will Forte is playing like an 18-year-old guy. And that's kind of part of the joke. Like they're having like these older dudes play these like younger kids and they play that as part of the joke. It's really fourth wall breaking, but it's about this guy from Harvard who creates National Lampoon and then creates the National Lampoon magazine and then starts with like his very first movie that he wrote was Animal House. And the second movie he wrote was Caddyshack. And at the same time, he's reinventing comedy. And at the same time, his life is just spiraling out of control. And then he dies at age 33. And he was just this massive influence in comedy for just a short amount of time. But it's very funny. And there are a lot of great cameos. The best of which was Joel McHale, who played Chevy Chase. So Joel McHale played Chevy Chase. And if you guys are as big of fans of Community as I am, you know that Joel McHale and Chevy Chase were on the same show together. So it was great. So it's called A Futile and Stupid Gesture. It's on Netflix. I highly recommend it.
Okay. I will try to check that out. I know Joel McHale from The Soup.
The Soup. Yeah. So I love The Soup. And then one day, one episode, they had a video on there, some kid like breaking his arm. And it was like, oh, like one of those breaks where like the arm's like flapping. And then he starts making fun of this kid with a broken arm. I'm like, that is so fucked up. Like you're making fun of this kid that just broke his arm. I'm like, I can't watch this show anymore. Like nothing against Joel McHale, but I couldn't watch the show after that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny. It's a really funny, and it's a biopic. You would think that it's like a Christopher Guest kind of like mockumentary, but it's a biopic. It's based off of this guy's like story. So highly recommend that one. But the reason we are here and the thing that Christy and I have been watching since the very first episode is WandaVision. We enjoy WandaVision so much that we are doing a 3-part WandaVision series. This is WandaVision Part 2, and then next week after the season finale, Christy and I can come back on. We're going to talk the season that was WandaVision, and then talk about all the cool Marvel stuff that is coming out this year that Kevin Feige announced was coming out this year alone and in theaters. So they announced Spider-Man's like the title of Spider-Man's next movie. So we'll talk about all that shit next week. So tonight's just we're just recapping the last couple episodes and giving our opinion, and then we're gonna go and have a snack and wait for James's games. How's that sound?
Sounds good. I need to refill my water. See, I've been really good.
Nice job. I'm refilling my water. My water comes in the form of Coke Zero.
Oh, Dave.
There's my water bottle. I can drink that all day.
Hey, it's not great, Dan.
What is that
Do you
from?
Pod Save America?
I don't know that one. What's Pod Saving? Is it a political one? I love podcasts, so I'm always up for new ones.
Yeah, that's the Obama boys, like Jon Favreau, the other Jon Favreau.
He's great for Star Wars. He saved Star Wars, man. He came up with Baby Yoda, and he has a podcast. It's amazing.
The other Jon Favreau.
Oh, who knew that there would be two Jon Favreaus in this world, and they're both pretty famous. Weird, right?
They're both pretty awesome too. I admire both of them.
Nice. My mom said she's refilling her wine, so we're all refilling together.
Drinking. Where have I been?
What?
When did your mom start drinking?
When I was in utero, I think.
Nuh-uh.
I don't know. She always drinks wine. What are you talking about? Christy, you're like 30-something years old. You see my mom drinking plenty of wine.
No, I've seen her drink tea. I know she's partial to Long Island's when she goes out, but I've never seen her drink. Not at home.
Man, my parents could knock down a couple of not Long Island's at Patrick's. We had this little dive bar down the street from us called Patrick's, and they served great Long Island's. They were delicious, I must say. Too bad Patrick's is gone. That was a cool club.
That was cool. I saw a few shows there with your parents.
Yeah, it was a fun place. All right. What are we talking about? We're talking about WandaVision, right? That's what we're talking about this episode? I'm so off track.
You can tell how interested I am by how often I get off topic. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to quickly recap the last couple episodes, but I'm giving you guys the standard spoilers. There are going to be spoilers. So if you don't care about spoilers, keep watching. If you do care about spoilers, you guys can come and join us for James's games because, we're pretty much going to be, full of spoilers for the rest of the show. Last episode, episode 7, I'm trying to remember. We introduced to Agatha Hargrave, who is the witch that's kind of controlling. Like she's kind of the puppet master behind Westview. I mean, all the different things that were going on, she was causing.
Isn't it Agatha Harkness?
Agatha Hargrave. Yeah, Harkness. Yeah. I'm going to find notes. My notes are handwritten, Christy, and I can't read my own handwriting, man. That's how bad my handwriting is. It's so bad I can't read it. So Agatha comes out as the big bad, but I think the biggest thing that happened last episode is we saw the birth of Photon, a new superhero for the Marvel universe. Photon, very powerful. She rivals Captain Marvel in power, and she becomes Captain Marvel at one point, but she's very powerful. But for me, I think they're setting up the mutants. I think something that's going on in New Jersey is setting up the mutant universe. So I think she might be the first official mutant. So that's what happened last episode. And this episode, we get almost all the answers. They literally answer pretty much every question. Why did Wanda go crazy? Who is Agatha? I mean, they go from when Wanda was a kid, and it takes her all the way through her entire life, and until the point where she created this hex around Westview, answers all the questions. But I thought this episode was pretty slow. For like the last couple episodes have been pretty full of action, birth of superheroes. This one was kind of slow. It was just basically just a walk through your life. What'd you think?
Okay, I like that we get to learn more about Wanda. It was nice to see her perspective and what happened. I don't know if it's just because I started a diet this week and I'm just being a pessimist, but it's just making me miss the big movies now. Like it just feels like a TV show. And like the first couple episodes didn't really feel like a TV show to me, but it's starting to feel like a TV show, and it kind of makes me sad. Plus, sadly, like there haven't been a ton of actual surprises. Everybody's been able to correctly guess what was going to happen in all the future episodes, and it kind of ruined it. Like, I need to quit watching all these different theories because all it's doing is just kind of ruining the surprises for me.
Yeah, I totally get that. I think one thing that really stood out to me this episode was the fact that Agatha is like a real witch, and she takes being a witch very seriously. All right.
Mm-hmm.
I keep mixing. It's Agatha, right? Agatha is the witch name. Agnes is the non-witch name, right? Okay.
Correct.
But she takes being a witch very seriously, and like is kind of offended that Wanda was just kind of doing magic without like really knowing what she's doing and any of that kind of stuff. And so I like that aspect that she it kind of at the end the Agatha is like you're very dangerous. So it's kind of coming from like, is she a good person like all along? Like was she, I know she's very mischievous, but was she good all along because and trying to stop Wanda and trying to, get her to, back off a little bit? What do you think?
Yeah, I don't think that she's necessarily a bad guy. She's certainly not good. But no, I think she definitely is one of those kind of almost like a Loki, like just like that person that's just maybe there to stir up some trouble, but maybe underneath it has some good intentions. I thought, that speech where she's kind of floating up in the air and she's got the boys and she's, telling Wanda all this stuff about like, you're not supposed to exist. You were supposed to be a myth. I thought she was about to call her a mutant, but then she refers to Wanda's chaos magic. And it's like, oh, okay. I thought that was like going to be like, you're a mutant. Because, we clearly see that Wanda had some kind of powers before the mind.
Yeah.
Was it? No, it wasn't the Mind Stone. Vision's the Mind Stone. Before Wanda got like her big powers, that she already had some powers, which clearly her brother also did because he survived the experimentations. So I think they're definitely like, this is like the next episode. I think is definitely going to like finally bring in mutants, especially, with Photon, because she's a mutant too, right?
Yeah, you consider a mutant by like their DNA is being mutated, and that's exactly how she became to be. Was her DNA was mutated by going in and out of the hex.
Yeah, which is different than the Avengers, how they got their powers. So, no, I don't think she's a villain. She's definitely there to stir up trouble. But yeah, I think we're still gonna find out that there's somebody bad, including what's his bucket, the sword guy.
Like Holly or something like that. Haley, Harley, Haysmith, Hawkins,
Hathaway, whatever. I think he's
Hughes,
the bad guy.
Harris. Do you think he's Hydra? Or do you think he's a Skrull or something?
No, I just think he's the one with the bad intentions through and through. Like,
do you think somebody's controlling him? Because everybody was talking about Mephisto is the bad guy, the devil is the bad guy. Now it's kind of looking like maybe he's not. Maybe who do you think is going to be the bad guy? If it's not Mephisto, who's going to be the bad guy? Like is the director of Sword, is he going to be like the big bad guy, which or is there somebody controlling him too?
I think we're supposed to think he's the big bad guy, but then at the very end, we're going to find out he's not. And that's going to be the big cameo. And that's going to be the big, like, traditional Marvel jaw drop, kind of like, oh shit.
So who do you think it is?
I think it is that no, it could be no. I don't know. I've seen so many different theories on who they think it might be. Some people have said it might be like Magneto. Mm-hmm. Obviously, God, all these M names. What's the devil-y guy? Mephisto. I'm leaning towards him, frankly.
I think it's going to be somebody already kind of magic. I think it's going to be maybe a Magneto. I could definitely see that if they want to bring mutants into the fold. But whoever it is, it's going to be a bad guy for Doctor Strange, and so they're thinking of like Craven. He's like a an eternal hunter or something like that. He's like a guy who jumps from dimension to dimension and like kills powerful beings and stuff. So maybe something like that. Maybe maybe this is how they introduced Doctor Doom, and maybe somehow he's running it. Like, I really have no idea, because it could go either way. It could go like the direction of it's just a bad guy, like a Doctor Doom kind of bad guy, or it's mystical. So it's going to be something like a Mephisto, who's the devil, who's controlling all this. It could go either way. And you were saying, like, yeah, these guys are coming up with, like, they're being able to guess what's going on. But do you really know who the bad guy is now? That they have been able to save who the big bad guy is all the way through the entire season. You have no idea who's in charge. So I think that's
kind of like Wanda snapped and she did it.
So she's the big bad guy.
Well, she didn't do it on purpose, but I feel less like there's somebody pulling the strings than I did 2 episodes ago.
Yeah. I came away from this episode thinking, like, I think we see who the major players. It's really interesting that they have this new version of Vision.
White Vision.
Like White Vision, yeah. That's gonna, I don't know how that's gonna play, but I'd feel very disappointed if at the very end of this whole season, which was so great, if it was the fucking guy from Sword and he's just being a dick, or if I want somebody like big and powerful. I want them to introduce stuff. I want them to introduce a villain from the histories, the volumes of Marvel. I want them to do something big and powerful. If it's just like it's the guy from Sword and he's just kind of doing this on purpose, I'd be so disappointed.
So clearly it won't be that, because a lot of people would be disappointed.
Oh man, can you imagine?
No, it's good, that classic, mislead. We're being misled to believe it's one thing. We don't think there's anybody pulling the strings. We think the Sword guy is the bad guy. He's gonna use White Vision to try to stop Wanda. But like, did we ever really find out why he wants to stop Wanda so bad? Like, just because she is who she is? Like, he told everybody that she stole Vision's body, which ended up not being true. Like, yeah. Why is make Wanda? He's got his own motivations, which does lead to believe that there is somebody else behind it all.
Yeah, good call. All right, so give me your impression of next week, what's going to happen next week, and we'll go ahead and wrap it up, because we're getting kind of down to the wire here. We're not going to have enough time to pee if we keep going any longer.
So I think there's going to be some kind of battle with White Vision. I think Real Vision's going to control it, and everybody's going to kind of think it's almost the end, like, oh, they beat the bad guy. Wanda's going to tell Vision what happened, but then we're going to get like the real bad guy and something big's going to happen, and that's where we're going to get into like the multiverse. Like, I really feel like this is supposed to lead into the multiverse eventually.
And I say Wanda, I'm going to go left field here. I'm going to say Wanda loses her fucking mind and she ends up being the big bad, and Doctor Strange comes in and banishes her to the multiverse to try to save the planet. I think she's going to go off her fucking rocker with everything that's going on, especially if Agatha kills her kids. She's going to lose her fucking mind. So I think, because she's supposed to be, the rumor is that she's the big bad in Doctor Strange. And so we have to kind of marry those two characters together if that's going to like fulfill that rumor. So who knows? That's a cool thing, man. I like the shows where you're like, I have no idea what's going to happen. It's going to be cool. I fully trust Marvel. I can guarantee they're going to stick this landing. I just don't know where it's going to land at.
I do. I do. I trust Marvel. Like I said, I want another big movie. Like I already miss Robert Downey, Iron Man, and Chris Evans, and like I miss that, but I need to let it go. Like, that's over. Here comes the new stuff, and just accept it for what it is. So
yeah. And there's 4 movies coming out in theaters. Marvel's releasing 4 movies, I believe, or 2 movies and 2 shows. So I don't know. We have to go through that whole list. Kevin Feige came out this week and just gave a whole list of all the shows and movies that are coming out in theaters. So he's very confident that we're also heading in the right direction. Next is Black Widow. I think Black Widow comes up pretty soon in theaters, and I'll go see it if numbers are down. And I've been to like a few different movies already. I'll go see it in the theaters. Hell, there probably won't be hardly anybody there. So finally be quiet. It's one thing I hate about fucking theaters is people talking all the time.
Agreed. Yeah,
Oh,
that's what Bobby
so
and I always the late weeknight show so we could avoid as many people as possible.
Yes, that's the introvert way.
Yes.
All right, so we're gonna kind of bow out here for a little bit. We're gonna refill our sodas and our waters and go tinkle. Coming up at 8:00, we have James's games. Like I said, we have Mel, we have Chef David, Santori, Christy's on there. I'm on there. It's gonna be a Who Wants to Be a Millionaire type of game show tonight. On March 12th, we have Amanda Hawkins. It's like all my family's coming on the podcast, but my family is the ones that sponsors the shows. So, I'll have my family on them. I have no problem with that. But Amanda Hawkins is a wonderful singer. And she has a really lovely following. She's very, very talented. And so we're excited to have her on. We're going to talk about our favorite concerts. She's been to some cool shows. I've been to some cool shows. Mel has been to some cool shows. So we're all going to talk about that. And then Christy, I believe you have a show coming up, don't you?
Yep. Next Thursday, March 4th at 7 p.m. I think Bobby and I have narrowed it down. We're going to talk about all these different reboots that have been coming out. Like they just announced Frasier's getting rebooted. We have some opinions, as you can imagine. So
yes, that's an excellent episode. You'll get a lot of people chit-chatting about that because I definitely have some strong opinions about that shit. As a creator myself, I am so fucking frustrated with all these reboots, and like I'm trying my ass off. I'm working my ass off to try to get stuff like Caldera available now on Amazon in paperback and on ebook. Trying to get like that made. I'm trying to get in front of people, and no, they're gonna remake fucking Frasier. Like, come on, come up with some ideas. There's original ideas out there, and after the pandemic and after lockdown, there's gonna be so much amazing stories that have been created. That are you seriously gonna put all your budget into these remakes when all this amazing art is being created right now? So, yeah, I'm pretty opinionated about that. So,
good, you'll episode then.
All right, maybe I'll jump in sometime. I kind of feel bad because it's like your show, but I'm like, I have an opinion. I want to be heard. So let me jump on real quick. Hi, here's my opinion.
That was me in the comments of all the Mile High Podcast videos. I'm like, I want to say something about that.
That's funny. So definitely make sure you're checking out Potter Girls podcast coming up on March 4th. You said?
Yep, next Thursday.
Right on. Like I said, Caldera is available now on Amazon. If you guys have any comments, concerns, criticisms, please go to the milehighpodcast@gmail.com. Ultimately, we would like to make your money our money. Do what our sponsors, Bonnie Potter or Bonnie Murphy. I fucked up the name again. I fucked it up again. God damn it. Look at this shit. This is why James is the host and I'm like the Robin of this relationship here. So, our sponsor, Bonnie Murphy, our other sponsors, Christy and Michael Potter, and of course, Betsy and Paul Hawkins. Those are the sponsors of Truckee Pacific. They made their money, my money. So do what they did. Go to @Truckee Pacific 303 and make your money, my money. And that's all I got tonight. We're going to bow out now. Thank you guys so much for listening. Christy, thank you so much. I'm excited to talk about some WandaVision next week. So have a good night, guys. We'll see you in a few minutes.
Bye.
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 Be good to each other. Be good to each other.
This has been a Truckee Pacific production. For sponsorship inquiries and comments, go to themilehighpodcast@gmail.com. This has been a Truckee Pacific production. For sponsorship inquiries and comments, go to themilehighpodcast@gmail.com.